Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long Blues 1975. A YouTuber's on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends music about Long Blues 1975.
Hey YouTube, Long Boys Post 1975. Welcome to the Wednesday vlog. Now you've read the title, so obviously you know what we're going to talk about. This week was the anniversary of one of the most successful and most famous, popular video game characters out there in the world, and also the anniversary of the introduction of his first game. Obviously Sonic the Hedgehog. It's weird because anniversaries, especially for something like video games, when it only seems like yesterday when you're a kid playing that game, remembering the period before the game even existed, then getting to play it, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and it's been 25 years. To put that into perspective and to make myself feel old, and the impact that video games have had, that we're quarter of a century later, and we're celebrating this character. I think before video games, it was things like comics, wasn't it? Stuff like that would be considered similar media, where you probably thought, well, this thing will never take off, I'll never see this character again. And well, Sonic the Hedgehog, 25 years, June the 23rd, 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog was released. Obviously now we know what it is, but there was a time when we didn't, and because it was before the internet, all we got was tidbits and little bits of information in the gaming magazines. And while you had, it was down to the integrity of the journalist, which we all know in some of the magazines out there, Cough, Sinclair User, Nemesis by Konami, we took their word as God. But they could have sold us a pup or anything, so you took it with a pinch of salt. But all we got was them saying this is a whole new platform, and this is Sega pulling out the big guns, trying to compete with Mario, introducing a mascot character. You've never seen speed like that. And then we'd look at the magazines, wouldn't we, and yeah, we saw the shiny graphics and what they were talking about, but the indication of speed, and that's key with this game, the introduction of this character, which I think initially is what made this franchise so popular and got it out there. Yeah, we never got to experience that until we saw the game. So as with many games back in the day, it was, for most of us, or at least those of us who bought it on launch, on day one, as I did, it was a pure leap of faith. Sure, we were super invested in Sega and we thought they could do no wrong, but even, your favourite console manufacturer, your favourite game manufacturer would put a foot wrong every now and then. But this game, I have a massive, massive amount of nostalgia to this game, and I just want to talk about my memories of the first game and around about that time, because the reason I have nostalgia about it is the fact that I got teased by it to play it, and then I had to wait 3 weeks to play it again. I've told this story before, but this is all part and parcel of what makes Sonic, such an amazing game to me, such a wonderful experience. And isn't that what, great gaming is about, is the personal attachment, an investment that you have to it. So anyway, Sega wanted a mascot so they could compete with Nintendo. Obviously Nintendo had long established Mario, and I guess Sega wanted to capitalize on that success. Some have always argued that Alex Kidd was kind of originally their mascot. Was he, wasn't he? I don't know. I mean, we know there were enough games, and there was art about on packages and stuff, like masters and boxes and stuff like that. And packages, as I said, promoted him, but I never really considered him a mascot. And Sega obviously knew that having a mascot would be a great marketing tool, and obviously not only to try and compete with Mario, but get a foot over Nintendo, which there's no denying it did, because Sonic was such a massive success. Not only did it spawn huge franchise, I will say this though, I think Mario's probably ended up better off foraying into the 3D world than Sonic did, but that's, by the way, a topic for another time. But yeah, it's safe to say that Sonic was absolutely a massive success and cultural phenomenon, and basically made Sega the leading game company in the 90s definitely got their foot in the door and won over on Nintendo. But as I said, we saw these magazines telling us about this amazing new game that Sega was mating, never mind, and the speed would blow us away. And let's not even bother talking about blast processing. Oh, those adverts. And yeah, so we didn't know anything about it, but all I know was I was so hyped across all the magazines. The biggest ones were obviously CVG and Meme Machines. It just got me like, oh my god, I need this, and then, oh damn it, my dad got back in contact with his brother who emigrated to Boston in America in the 60s, and half the Wade family, is over there. And how selfish of him, and how selfish to take his 3 kids on a trip for 3 weeks to see, and stay with their American relatives in Boston on the day after Sonic was launched. Oh my god, I've never forgiven him for it. Never mind. But yeah, I was like, so I was saving, get some money, change it into dollars to take it with me, because I fully, wanted to buy Genesis games as well when I was in the States, because my Jap Mega Drive would play the lot at this point. But at the same time, I had a separate fund, because it's like, there's no way I am not getting Sonic, even if I can't play it till I come back. And so yeah, I remember going downtown on the day of its launch, which was the day before we flew to America, and obviously we would have got up really early in the morning the next day to, I think we drove into London, the outskirts of London, parked our car at my dad's sister's house, and then she drove us to the airport, and we caught the flight. But ignoring the fact that I had to get up, my parents were like, they were amazed while I was doing this. They're like, isn't it enough that we're taking you on holiday? What are you doing? And I got up, got the bus, 2 buses downtown, arrived at the Virgin Megastore for 9 o'clock in the morning for the doors opening. And it's a different thing back in those days, and I loved it. There's no lineup, you didn't have to pre-order. Hell, there was no one in there. And yeah, my parents were like, where are you going? What are you doing? I got to go downtown and get Sonic. The hype and this advertising campaign has just got to me. It's just got to me. And they just thought I was an idiot. Probably thought I was a little bit ungrateful as well. But then, you know what? It was my money, and they knew that I'd saved all my own money up for, my expenses. Do you call it expenses when you're 15? When we finally got to the States. Got in the store, walked straight up, picked it off the counter, took it to the counter, off the shelf, took it to the counter, got given it, and there it was, Sonic the Hedgehog. On launch, morning of launch, opening of store on launch. That's how invested I was in this game. Now, the UK box art is different from the North American one, and obviously the Japanese one. I think it's the best one of all, the 3 releases. Apart from that, I used to hate the fucking Mega Drive, the original Mega Drive logo and that shitty grid thing. But the front, which didn't have the borders that you normally did, everything about this game was just shiny and fantastic. And it had like an anime, sort of look to it. The manual was fucking awesome, as was the cartridge, and I was, 2 bus journeys back, just doing what you did as a kid, just staring constantly at the back of the case and reading the manual, or more and more. The excitement was building. It's funny, there were other kids on the bus who, gone and done exactly the same thing. Obviously, they weren't going on holiday and picked up their Sonics, and yeah, you could feel the atmosphere. Got home, ran in, played the crap out of it all day. My first impression was, I haven't seen anything like this, Obviously, Super Famicom was out at this point, but there were graphics on that, and they're absolutely amazing. But the graphics on this, to me, there's no mocap and shit like that, were just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Like, it looked shiny, it looked fantastic. There's something badass about Sonic. The music was awesome. But then there was the blistering speed. Had never seen anything like it. That's what blew all of us out of the water at the time. I mean, even magazines in the reviews of it were giving it, low to mid 90s were saying, Abby, it's not as deep as Mario. I don't think it was trying to be Mario. I don't think Sega wanted to try to emulate Mario just as success, because, well, then it would just be a knockoff of Mario. So they went a different route, and they went that fucking rocket pace route that just... Like I said, my jaw dropped. I mean, you could hear thuds across the nation, probably across the globe, but people just go, fuck me sideways and call me Susan. Look at this bad boy go. When you hit the full speed of the pace and you were going through going through the loops and stuff like that, and all of a sudden something just hit you and you lost your coins. It was never frustrating because it was like, pure reflexes. It gave a whole new experience to doing, the speed run, and I played this to as late as I could, you know, and I've never had a curfew in my life, but my parents basically said, go to fucking bed, right? Turn it off. It'll be here when you get back. Just go to fucking bed. We don't want you being a miserable little bastard for all the travelling we have to do tomorrow. So, you know, put it aside, you know, I was still excited, but then I was like, there was that, you know, a little bit of negativity, not because of the game, but because of the amazing experience. I've just stuck my toe in the pool of. And then we went on holiday, and it was an amazing holiday. It was an absolutely fantastic holiday, you know. But I had to play Sonic because obviously it was a global launch. You know, there were adverts over there. It was in magazines everywhere. I just couldn't escape it, but I couldn't play it. It was driving me nuts. I mean, I really enjoyed my holiday. I absolutely, the first time I went to the States blew my mind, seeing the difference in culture, TV. You couldn't rent video games in our stores back then, so that was a whole new experience. You know, going into game stores in malls, you know, seeing Terminator 2 ahead of all my mates. That was a bargain into the process. Going to a place called the Winner's Circle where I first got to play Street Fighter 2. The whole thing was brilliant, but Sonic was at the back of my head. And going into game shops, and I think I bought Hellfire and Atomic Robo Kid because they were cheaper than they would have been in the UK and not out at that point. But then I saw Sonic over there, and I was just like, and it had different box art. My brain was just like, I know it's called the Genesis, but it's got different box art. And it just kept building and building and building. And I remember when you know, it's weird, we finally got back after 3 weeks. I think I went to bed for a day because jet lag is something unheard of when you've never flown before, particularly if you're a kid. And then when I got up after the jet lag, you know, I had my two brand new, you know, shiny Genesis games. Couldn't give two tits about them. I bought them at the time because I wanted to play them, but couldn't give two tits about them. I was all about Sonic the Hedgehog again. I was like, right. And it still felt like a new game. Obviously, I caned it for as much as I could of that day before we went, you know, abroad. But it still felt like a brand new, shiny, and fantastic game. And being deprived from it, but still being surrounded by its presence and its marketing and stuff like that, and seeing it in game stores and in, you know, different box art and. You know, like in the Genesis logo as well, and hearing people talk about it over there, friends of my cousins and that, you know, had the various systems. It was just, it was just even more magical. And sat down and I caned the shit out of it. I think it was probably a week before I even got around to touching my those two Genesis games, and it was just, the whole thing was, like I said, never felt frustrating. You had to put, you know, a lot of practice in to get through some of the stages. You know, fighting Dr. Eggman. Saving your buddies, the boss fights, and once again, like, you know, the variation in levels and that blistering speed. This whole process, you know, it sounds weird. There's this combination of different events, such as, you know, buying, being deprived, going back, that summer being an amazing summer of culture and experiencing video game culture in another country. That whole thing just made the launch of Sonic a combination of, you know, parts bigger than itself that just made the whole gaming experience even more amazing. So the fact that it's 25 years since that event, which was a big deal in my life of gaming, the launch of what would become, you know, Sega's flagship character, one of gaming's most popular, successful flagship characters. It was, you know, and having an absolutely amazing game that was a wake-up call for everyone else wanting to make platformers at the time. Sure, maybe it wasn't its deepest Mario, but it was never supposed to be that. It was about that speed, about that sheer polish, about, you know, when Team Sonic made that, it was clearly they wanted it to be a step above everything else, and it was clearly, you know, a labour of love. And I'd love to know, you know, what your experiences are. Have you got Sonic it launched and the nostalgia you have attached to it? But this is why this video is about my memory of Sonic 1. The whole experience was absolutely fantastic, and it was more than the game, but the fact that the game was absolutely amazing was just the icing on the cake. I mean, happy birthday, Sonic. You've served gaming well. I mean, I had Sonic 2, I loved it. I had Sonic 3. My Sonic 3 was actually Japanese. I absolutely loved it, and while you could argue they were more impressive and did more than the first game, they never kind of gave me that, you know, I'm not saying they're terrible, I absolutely adore them, but they never quite gave me that same sort of buzz and just amazing feeling of excitement and sheer joy of opening that case for the first time and popping in that game. If only because you could argue that Sonic 1 did it before them. Obviously that's an adult observation, but do you know what I mean? Like I said, it amazes me that, and, you know, fair play Sega, and well done for creating something that has lasted, you know, the test of time. I mean, like I said, I loved the other Sonic games. I loved Sonic CD when my brother had his Mega CD. I had that on the Master System, both of them on the Master System, you know, 1 and 2 on the Master System. Again, incredibly impressive, you know, games, especially on that hardware. But that to me is the era of Sonic I love. As I said, there have been some that did work, such as Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast, but I never felt Sonic sort of translated into 3D as well as Mario. But that's not to take away anything from this anniversary and anything from this game, which is absolutely fantastic. You know, changed platform games forever, changed the sort of concept design of a character. You know, it had to be kind of badass, had to be cool, it didn't just have to be a cutesy thing. Because if you stop to think about it, the best platformer on the Mega Drive at this point, before this game, was probably Castle of Illusion, Mickey Mouse, which, you know, amazing platformer, great looking platformer, but it doesn't have any of the attitude, balls-riftly speed and fantastic graphics that this did. This forever will go down as a great day in the history of video games. So I just have to say, you know, congratulations Sega, and congratulations Sonic on quarter of a century. You know, truly one of the greatest video game characters of all time. And as I said, people, I would love to know what your experiences are, what your memories are, and what your stories and nostalgia are for, you know, the launch of the original. You know, did you get it on launch day? Did you not? You know, did you experience it around with friends? But the original Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Mega Drive. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.